Hello, good afternoon. To think about that for a second there. I am popping on today. I was inviting some people into the group and wanted to just give them an extra second here. I want to talk today about something that I find to be really something that people are not often thinking about. I'm going to go ahead and predict that I'm going to start seeing a lot of separation anxiety cases in the fall, probably. So if you're ready to get back into your normal routine, but your dog has, gotten really used to you being home all the time, what I want to do is I want to just share what you need to start thinking about now in order to really prepare your dog for what's to come. I know it might seem like there's no light at the end of the tunnel right now, or we really don't know, when we're going to get back to normal. And my guess is that we're not going to get back to normal quickly. It's not just going to be like, oh, bam, we're back to school full time, back to work full time and all that. So I think there will be a transition period, but I also know, just out of my own habits and habits of clients that I've seen in the past, it's really easy to just kind of push things off and just say like, oh, well, we'll figure it out when it comes and later. But the thing is, we've been home now for, I don't know how many weeks. Someone's probably keeping count. I lost count a long time ago, but we've been home for a long time, right? So we've been around our dogs for as long as we've been home. And if you guys were working before and now you're home more often, it was a big shock for the dogs. And at first, maybe they were a little thrown off by it. I actually had quite a few clients that had contacted me saying that their dog was acting a little odd. They couldn't quite identify what it was, but I think what it ended up coming down to for the most part was that the dogs ended up almost just being exhausted, like mentally, physically exhausted, because what was happening was they were getting the rest that they needed during the day when we were off at work or doing our thing, whether you were in and out all the time or you were gone all day, right? So they were getting their rest at home during the day, and they got a little recharge from that. And now we're home all the time, and there's not really any recharge time, because typically what happens is our dogs will snooze, right? They'll go off to sleep, they'll go lay on the couch, whatever it is, they'll lay at our feet. But and you guys can comment if you've noticed this, but what usually will happen is then you get up and all of a sudden the dog's awake, right? All of a sudden they're up, they're ready to go. Where are you going? So that's been happening a lot more often with a lot of my clients, and my own dog Willow, so I have already started reintegrating her into her, like, what will be her normal routine. So we're going to talk about that. So what I want to share today is just, a few ideas. I'm going to give you 5 main ideas for how you can start to get your dog used to the idea of, okay, well, this isn't forever. Right? It might feel like it's forever right now, but it's not going to be forever. So I'm going to tell you guys a story, right? So there's this family. We'll say, we'll just for the sake of it, we'll just say mom, 2 kids, and dad, right? So, they're off, they're doing their thing, they're at work all the time. Mom is actually sort of works from home, but doesn't. She's out and about a lot. She's always running errands, always going to the grocery store, doing her thing. And then, so the kids are off to school. They get on the bus. Mom goes in. She showers. She has a little mental break for a minute. Husband's already at work. And then, she goes in, she showers. She goes on with her day. Maybe she does some stuff around the house. And then she's pretty much in and out or gone until like 3:00 when the kids get off the bus, right? So kids get off the bus. The things start up again. Everything's active again. Like, kids are off the bus, they're taking off all their snow gear, they're taking off all their stuff. And mom is dealing with the kids, and then the dog is maybe a little bit crazy because the dog's really excited that the kids are home and everybody's there. And then, so from like 3 to 6 is just sort of, catch up after school, snack time and all that. Dad comes home around 6, they have dinner. The kids are in bed by 7:30. It's a dream, right? The kids are in bed by 7:30. The dog, in the meantime, has been out and about with them, and everyone's happy and all that. So then this coronavirus hits, right? And this family Dad still goes to work for a little while. Mom is now home with the kids because the kids aren't in school. The dog's following them around all over the house, you know, everywhere they go. Maybe the dog's even like up on the couch while the kids are doing their schoolwork. And so the dog is just everywhere. The dog gets to go everywhere that they go. Maybe the dog was kept in the kitchen area before, but now that, you know, mom is home, the kids are home, they could trust the dog more. So now the dog gets to come upstairs with everybody. And so then we get the okay to start going back to work, right? But summer, we go through summer after the coronavirus, and, you know, summer, and we slowly reintegrate ourselves into society. We get to go to the beach and we get to do all this stuff. And so the dog's home every once in a while, but over time, things are starting to build up for the dog at home, and the dog is starting to get a little bit anxious, maybe peeing in the house every once in a while, maybe getting a little destructive, all that sort of stuff. So then, you know, I get the call that all of a sudden my dog is just, you know, he's destructive and he's frustrating, and I just need to get back to work, and I'm overwhelmed and all that stuff, right? So as you guys have probably figured out by now, this is not a true story, because guess what? We have not been through this yet, right? So we have not been through the coronavirus. We have not been through a pandemic, at least not with our kids in the house. And, you know, so we haven't dealt with this, but I have dealt with separation anxiety cases. I've dealt with, you know, teachers who are home all summer. So they get a puppy in the beginning of the summer, they're home with the puppy, and then they go off to work, and maybe just didn't really consider that you really get to transition them into being alone and away from you. So, you know, while we haven't been through a pandemic situation where we truly haven't been able to wean the dogs at all into the idea of us not being home, we haven't been through that, but we have been through summers. I have been through, you know, situations with clients where they really they wanted to love on the dog, and they just got this new adoption, and they were just having fun, and they really wanted to spend all their time with the dog, but then reality hits and they're back, right? So we want to make sure that I want to make sure that I'm taking what lessons I've gotten from that and what I know tends to help with that, and bring it forward into this coronavirus, the pandemic that we're in. So I do definitely have a few tips for you guys, and I want to share those. Okay, so number one, I want you guys to, I'm going to change this over here. Create a routine and integrate some alone time. Okay, so what I mean by that is basically I want you to start thinking about what your routine will be. So obviously summer is always going to be different for us. We're not going to know exactly what our routine is going to be for summer, but I want you to actually think ahead from summer, and let's pretend like we're getting back to the school type situation, or you're getting back to where you'd be going to work, or think backwards to what life was like before, right? So what you guys should be doing is you should be setting aside time for your dog to have some alone time. So if your dog is crate trained, great, you can reintroduce that. I will say that a lot of people, I'm probably going to get contacted about a lot of people struggling with the crate because, you know, maybe your dog's been spending a lot of time out of the crate. So that's why you have time from now until your dog needs to be in the crate to really get them used to, you know, small amounts of time in the crate again. And this is the case for any dog, of course, but I really want to address the situation we're going to be in hopefully just a few months. I don't know. So the alone time, the routine. So the routine being, you know, again, let's go back to that story I was telling earlier. Kids get on the bus. Mom comes in. Mom takes a shower. During the shower, that's a good time for the dog to have some alone time, right? The dog does not need to follow you into the bathroom and sit by your feet outside the shower. Okay. So that's a good time for some alone time. You know, and then and again, if this is don't let this be a shock to your dog. So don't go from, you know, 100% the dog's out all the time to now I'm going to create all this alone time for you and you're expected to be alone all the time. But I want you guys to start creating some alone time in short little chunks of time. Okay. And you can you'll be home during most of this. And that can be the hardest part, I will say, for us, not for the dog, but for us, because, you know, we can hear them whining and fussing and we feel guilty. I'm like, well, I'm here anyways. I'll just let them out. we don't want to do that. That's not the point, right? So we want to make sure that you guys are able to sort of turn that off. So headphones work really well for that. Going into another room and shutting the door, stuff like that. We don't want to let them be barking and whining and carrying on, of course. That just tells me that maybe we came on a little too strong with them. We went from, 100% of the time they're out to 0%, and we want to make it nice and you want to wean them into it, right? So start to think about the routine. So like that 3 o'clock time when kids might normally get off the bus and the dog's going to be able to be out and about a little bit more, stick to that. Go with that. Okay. So another thing that you guys can do, I'm going to show these, just make it easier for you guys. Okay. So the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to consolidate exercise. So what I basically mean by that is not so much that your dog shouldn't be getting the same amount of exercise right now, but that you're going to consolidate it into chunks. Because again, picture when you're out and about, your dog isn't just going to be getting constant exercise all day long, right? Their bodies can get used to that really quickly. So you want to make sure that your dog, in the morning they get their exercise, and then maybe midday, you can picture like midday let out, they get a good chunk of exercise, and then evenings. And so you're shaping or weaning yourself into, they're going from exercise all day long or just being out and about all day long to consolidated exercise. And the other great thing about consolidated exercise is that what I was talking about in the beginning, where I was talking about how your dog's not getting good rest, it's going to allow them to get more rest. And if you integrate alone time into it too, they can get rest in their crate, or they can get rest in another room, or you can go in another room and they can stay in the living room and get their rest, right? So, because again, we don't want the dogs, it's not restful for the dogs to always be like ready to go anytime we're ready to go, right? If you guys have kids at home, they're really not getting their rest because the kids are probably all over the place, right? So we want to make sure dogs are getting enough rest. Okay. So then the next one, back to my banners here. So next one I'm going to talk about, I want you guys to practice safe distance socialization. Okay. So I'm absolutely not advocating for you guys to go outside the limits of what your state is requiring you to do, or for you to expose anybody or anything like that. If you're able to, get in your car and take your dog and go for a little ride to grocery store parking lot. That's one of my favorite spots to recommend. Park far away. Start getting your dog used to seeing people again. Okay, because even the most social dog, they really need to get used to seeing people again. You can bring some really high value goodies with you. And every time they see a person, you can actually reinforce them just for looking at the person, give them a treat. And that will help them to really start to establish, oh, people are good. I like people. People predict treats. Okay. So you definitely can be doing that. So the other type, actually, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, because the other type of safe distance socialization that you can do, that I gave its own category to, is you can practice some door arrivals. So what I mean by that is a lot of dogs get triggered just by somebody coming in the front door, right? So what you can do is you can send your kid outside and around to the front door and bring them in and start practicing what you would be expecting your dog to do if somebody were to come to the front door. So I have a lot of clients who, they can go in and out the garage door, no problem, in and out the back door, no problem, because that's where they usually go in and out. But if they go in or out the front door, it's a big problem for the dog. They immediately get triggered by that. So practicing that sort of stuff is good, because eventually you can bring people back to your house again, right? Might as well get them used to it. And then the last one I have in here, just to kind of give you guys, a few things to start with, is introducing music therapy. Okay, so music therapy, a lot of people have been using this for their dogs when they have thought that maybe their dog had some separation anxiety issues. So they say, well, I'll just put on some music when I leave. But if you only put on the music when you leave, as you can imagine, the music is now the cue for the fact that you're leaving. So it's very stressful for them to all of a sudden hear the music come on. So you really want to start. What I typically do recommend, and what I would recommend to you guys, is you pick 2 or 3 more classical music type songs. Okay, so that sort of no hard rock or rap or anything like that. Countries, maybe hit or miss, but something that you can handle listening to over and over and over again. So that's why I usually tell people like 2 to 3 of them. There are some playlists out there for this specific thing for dogs, but I don't necessarily think you need that. I think that any nice classical music would be fine. And I want you guys to start playing the music on repeat when your dog is naturally relaxed. So your dog is already relaxed, okay? They're kind of in a Zen state. Maybe they're even snoring, I don't know. Or everybody's, sitting on the couch, or it's evening time and your dog's just starting to doze off. Put the music on, play it on repeat. Okay. So again, 2 or 3 songs, because again, you're going to be there. You're going to have to handle this. Play it on repeat. So the dog is hearing it and when they're already in a natural state of relaxation. Okay. Then what ultimately will happen is you'll be able to start playing it when your dog is not already naturally relaxed, but maybe is ready to go there. So you're going to kind of start almost think you're backing up the music to the point where it will start to create a state of relaxation for your dog. Okay. So again, you do not want to just play the music right before you leave, because then your dog sees the music or the song as a cue that you're getting ready to leave. And it's the same thing as, when you pick up your keys or you put on your shoes or you put on your jacket, your dog all of a sudden knows you're getting ready to leave, right? So what you want to do is you want to actually do the opposite. You want to create a conditioned response in your dog to, feel relaxed ultimately. So start by playing it when they're already naturally relaxed, and then you can start backing it up to get them to that state of relaxation. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So I want you guys to create routine and integrate alone time into that routine. Okay. Get them going back to normal. I want you guys, and stick around with me because I do have something at the end I'm going to tell you about. I want you guys to consolidate exercise so it's in chunks. It's not throughout the whole day. Okay. Because again, you're not going to be home throughout the whole day probably. So you're going to want to get your dog's body used to, spurts of exercise, right? Practice safe distance socialization. Okay. So again, go to the grocery store parking lot. The great thing about the grocery store or any other store type place like a Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that is typically they have big parking lots, but also there's a routine in that. So you can predict what that person who's parked and is getting out of the car is going to do. They're going to park, they're going to get out of their car, they're going to go into the store, they're going to come out, they're going to load up their car, hopefully put their cart away and go back to their car. So there's some predictability with that. And so I like that as opposed to going to a park type setting or whatever. You're not quite sure. So, and then you're going to introduce some music therapy to your dog. And then you're going to practice your door arrivals with family. Okay. So the other thing I want to share with you guys, here's what I want you to do if you want to dig in further to this. Okay. I am holding an online virtual live workshop on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I know some of you are not in Eastern time. So 11 a.m. Eastern time. I have posted the website there, and I will also put a link in the comments. So if you go to my website, missbehaviortraining.com/back-to-work, you go there and you can sign up for the workshop. Now the workshop there's 3 different pricing options because I wanted to try to make it easy for everybody to be able to get in there and dig into this, what you need to do. So the 3 different pricing options. So, and it will come along with a 4-week pop-up Facebook group for support. Okay. So it's going to be 4 weeks and then the Facebook group goes away. It'll be archived. So you'll be able to access information in it, but you won't be able to post anything new. So if you want to come to the live workshop only, that's going to be $29. If you want to come to the live workshop, and also 1 week later, I'm going to hold a group call for questions and answers. That's the next level up for $49. And then the live workshop, the Zoom call a week later, and 30-minute private Facebook, or sorry, not Facebook, a 30-minute private coaching call that's where we can dig into any special needs that you and your dog may have. Okay. And that can be done over before May 30th. So it'll open up on this Saturday, May 2nd will be the workshop. So you're going to want to go sign up. And then the Facebook group itself will close on May 30th. So it'll be open for 4 weeks, but the workshop, if you purchase the workshop but for some reason you can't make it, I will send you a link to the replay of it. And at the end of the workshop, there will be time for Q&A there. But so what the Zoom call is going to do afterwards is going to give you some time to start working on some of this stuff, see what's sticking, what you have questions about, stuff like that. And then you can jump into the Zoom call and we'll be able to answer questions. I'll be able to answer questions right there and maybe watch you practice some stuff with your dog, depending on how many people are there. And then the highest level one with the 30-minute, the private coaching call will really be able to dig into any special needs you or your dog may have. Okay. So website's there. You can go over there now and register. I am offering discounts for teachers. Okay. So make sure that you just comment or send me an email. Because I want to make sure that that discount works for you guys. So definitely do that. And that's pretty much it. Okay. So you guys really, really, truly, I don't want this to be hindsight. I will never say I told you so, but I do not want it to be hindsight in, come fall when everything hopefully resumes back to normalcy, or even sooner for those of you guys who don't have kids. Not those of us, I certainly have them, but those of you who don't have kids and might start to see some normalcy sooner than that. I don't want you to get stuck in that situation where you're like, oh, I really wanted to start this stuff, but I didn't. And now my dog has separation anxiety of some kind. So because separation anxiety, I would not wish on anybody with their dog. It is not fun to work through because it's a panic attack. Your dog is literally having a panic attack when they have separation anxiety. So I don't want that to be a problem for you guys. Okay. So again, go to that website, missbehaviortraining.com/back-to-work, and you can sign up for the workshop. It is happening this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to dig into a lot of the stuff I talked about today, plus some extra stuff. So we're really going to be able to, we'll talk a lot more about, the music therapy and how that works. I'll have specific music that you could choose. We'll talk about like the door arrivals, how to actually specifically do that. So we will dig in much deeper in the workshop than I would have been able to in here. But I wanted to at least give you guys sort of an outline and some basics of what to do. Okay. So feel free to share with your friends too if you know anybody that would benefit from any of this stuff. Okay. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye.